My name is Luke Woolcombe, and I will be presenting information on 4 training sessions in my logbook. I will be identifying both my strengths and weaknesses and areas for improvement within the session. The first session I will be looking at is a training session outside of college for my Saturday club, Hampton Waterlooville Youth. The session took part on the 12th of March and was solely based on attacking phases of play, with lots of work manipulating the ball. The outline of the session was ideally to develop possession and ball retention with a game-like situation. It was asked that the session was to remain at a high tempo at all times throughout all the different drills. Before the session broke down into the main sector, we warmed up as standard, completing a couple laps of the area, followed by a few dynamic and static stretches. The first drill we carried out was a keep ball drill, with 2 teams of 5 and another of 4. The 2 teams of 5 were required to keep the ball amongst themselves and keep the ball away from the opposite team, whom were attempting to regain possession. While the 2 teams were competing, the remaining 4 players were spaced out along the outside of the area and took the role of the magic men, who can play for whichever team has possession of the ball. As the drill proceeded, some progressions were introduced, such as the limitation of touches, and the space became smaller, making the drill harder to carry out, but unfortunately the tempo died due to poor touches and passes being made. Then we progressed onto attack versus defence drill, focusing on the use of crosses from wide areas, exploiting the wings and launching attacks and crosses. The drill used both the defensive and offensive field, using the matchday defence and attack. The aim of the defence was to act as professionally as possible and challenge for balls in the air and try and break down any phase of attack, whereas the role of the attackers was to score as many goals as possible or get their shots away. Rounding off the session, we played small-sided games of 7v7 within one half, one team shooting at goal and the other needing to dribble the ball through one of the 2 gates on the halfway line. The game was asked to remain as realistic as possible and tried to use what had been previously worked on in the drills prior to the game. The session analysis of the whole, the technical skills were good, the tactical awareness was good, the ability to apply to games was good, the fitness levels were satisfactory, and the attacking and defending was both good. The strengths of the session were the fact that some of the drills worked on could be extracted and used within a match, that kept all the players involved at all times so that no one was ever standing around. Most of the session was played at a high tempo and as realistic as possible. The areas for improvement were that the drill became more predictable the longer the drill went on. For instance, the defender knew that the ball was coming from the wings, so it could be intercepted and dealt with easily. To be improved, rather than playing with both teams having even teams, an overload could be used to make the drill more difficult. The strikers' and attackers' ability to score from wide areas and crosses could be improved, including myself. However, this could be taken as a positive, as it could mean the defenders were doing their job correctly and preventing the attackers from scoring. If I were to analyse the breakdown of the session and analyse my own performance, in the keep ball session, my teammates and I started off playing at a high tempo. However, after a while the tempo dropped and some of those lost focus and didn't apply themselves as much as they could have done, especially when trying to win the ball back. When the drill progression onto the having limits of number of touches used, some players, including myself, began to panic and lost confidence within themselves when 1 or 2 touches were introduced. The next drill was effective. The attacking side dominated the ball, with majority of the possession moving the ball efficiently and quickly against the defending team. When asked to exploit the wings, the crosses were good, however the defence remained strong in the air, winning a high majority of the crosses. Good from a defending aspect but poor from the attacking aspect, which could be done with some improvements. The game was used as a little bit of fun to cool off the session, with players beginning to carry the ball more and not pass the ball as often, trying to do everything on their own and beat their man, and I was guilty myself in doing so.